Evening, it's the Fulhamish Quick Take. George Cooper here. I'm joined by Dan Cook. How you doing, mate? That was the Fulhamish Quick Take. Fulham's 2-1 defeat at the Emirates to Arsenal. We're in a pub in Highbury in Islington, drowning our sorrows, waiting for the queues to die down. And overall, it was a disappointing evening. We were hoping maybe for a bit of a response following the disappointing quarter-final against Crystal Palace, but ultimately didn't really get it, did we, Dan?
No, it did. It felt a little bit hangover-y, almost, didn't it? It felt like we were... Yeah, you wanted a reaction. You wanted like a first 20 minutes just buzzing. Let's fix this, you know. We're wounded, but we're going to come out fighting. And actually, it was almost the reverse, wasn't it? It was the last 20 minutes that were really nice and buzzy and a bit more Fulham. But the first 70 were a tough watch.
Yeah, it was. It's funny because after the Palace game, we were sort of saying, "Oh, we should have maybe have gone for 5 at the back," and then that was what we saw this evening. And I don't think it really came off, did it? We had Bassi on the bench, and I think that was a big miss for us overall today. It was a bit of a questionable decision to leave him out. I don't know whether there was a knock or whether it was just a rest, but Jorge Cuenca came in, Anderson and Diop, and yeah, I don't know, it just kind of felt like everything was a bit flat. And, you know, we're coming up against the best defence in the league at Arsenal. We came away with a 2-1 defeat, although you could have felt like it could have been a lot more of a unflattering scoreline, should we say. And yeah, 5 at the back didn't really pay off for us at all, did it?
No, like in the first half hour it did nullify Arsenal's attacking threat fairly well. We defended, you know, the shape was decent, we defended fairly well, but it was at the cost of the fact that we just had nothing going up. And we spoke about it during the second half. About 30 seconds before we had one of our chances where Traore sort of shanked it across goal, I turned to you and I was like, I don't know how we're trying to score a goal. It doesn't seem to be a plan. And after that chance happened, you're like, that was the plan. And it was basically hope that some long ball would result in Arsenal screwing up and we'd be able to capitalise on it, which is, it's not the best watertight of plans, really, is it? And that was the shame. It was like, there was a bit of a chance to get at them. I thought Gabriel going off, I'm really not a Jakob Kivior guy. I think he's a real weak link in that side when he plays. Felt like an opportunity to put him under a little bit, and we didn't. And so I understand, and I saw there was thought behind it. It wasn't just a sense of let's play 5 at the back and defend. There was thought behind it. Sasha Lukic actually played quite wide, and he was tasked with trying to keep Lewis Skelly out of the game, as you know, he tucks in and sort of plays that inverted fullback role. Marco had seen that and pushed Sasha to deal with that, and it worked okay. The only problem was they always had that outlet in Martinelli, and timid Castagna just 3 or 4 times in that first half just got rinsed, and it's hard to know what you do about it, because it ultimately came down to the fact that Martinelli had quicker feet and quicker legs than him, and so he was able just to knock it past him and get round him. And so whilst all the defensive shape was good, we were always at risk of just being exposed by one-on-one attacking situations, and that's where the goal comes from. It's just Martinelli getting down the line, putting the ball in, bit of chaos, goal. I don't know. It's a shame to see us lack that attacking threat again. But yeah, I'm with you. That Bassi decision bothers me, because if it's a knock, I'm okay with it, and I'll hold my hands up after this and be like, fine. He wasn't fully fit. He can't play. But if he is fit and he may be a little bit tired, everyone is. We've just come off the back of a big game. He is at the moment our best centre back, and we didn't play him. And Jorge Cuenca did not have a good game. And you do wonder if it would have been different if we'd have had Bassi in there.
Yeah, I mean, you said when Jorge Cuenca was named the starting lineup, you're like, okay, Cuenca either drops a 4 or a 10 in this game. There's no like middle ground. I mean, like, he didn't cover himself in glory. Obviously, the goal was a deflection off him. I don't really know whether you can sort of hold all to that much blame on him for that one, but there was a very wayward pass from Anderson in the build-up to that goal that you ultimately, if you were to say, you know, something that led to that goal, it was probably Anderson. And again, you know, we sort of said that we don't want to be too critical of our own player, but again, Anderson didn't have a great game this evening.
No, he didn't. He really didn't. And the one centre-back who did, it's a Diop. And again, like, granted, I think our position in the ground, you know, if people are watching on telly, they might have seen something different. But I thought Issa Diop again came away with a lot of credit, and I was really agitated by the fact that he was the centre back who got brought off when we shifted the back four, because he was the one player who wasn't putting a foot wrong. Those lovely driving runs that we see through the middle when he gets a bit dizzy and he just starts running through the middle of the pitch. And yeah, Yoa, it just didn't work again. Some diagonal balls in there that are good and set us away, but to pass it out straight through the middle of the park to an Arsenal player and to concede straight after it is sort of sums up the past few months of Joachim Andersen's side. And we were speaking about it when walking away from the ground. What more does he have to do wrong to get dropped?
Yeah, it's sad to see, really. And yeah, it was another head-scratching decision when we saw Diop come off. However, I will say that it was those decisions. It was Diop coming off for Sessegnon, he came on the right flank, and then Muniz on for Raul. That kind of, when we shifted to the back four, was when Fulham were playing some of our best football, and it was when we, it was obviously after the inevitable Saka goal, which, I mean, like, is there more of an inevitability? Like, you could hear the reaction from the Arsenal supporters when he started warming up, and then when he was coming on, and they were, you said it at the time, they cheered louder for when Saka came on. I know, obviously, he's their star player and homegrown and whatnot, but it was louder than when they scored when he came on, and then he was on the pitch for all of 5 minutes, nodded in at the back post. It was Martinelli again who started the move, and then he played out to, who was it? I can't remember, but it ended up coming back to Martinelli, who flicked it on. Saka at the back post, and you got to think, I don't know, Robertson, has he lost his man in that? I haven't seen the replay back, but it was just, the goal was gaping open for him there. Poor goal to concede.
It was. It also felt like it was coming. We'd had a couple of half chances in the second half, but that goal felt like it was coming. I agree with you. Again, need to watch it back, but Robinson at times is guilty of ball watching, and it felt like in that moment, I think it's a good flick from Martinelli. I don't think it's entirely intentional. He's not meaning to set that up to land it on Saka's head. It's just a sort of a Harry Wilson-esque little flick of, like, I'm just going to try and help it on, and that's the best I can do. And so it's smart from him, but he can't leave him free. And I thought, again, a back five, the one player it stifles is Anthony Robinson. We didn't see anything from him today when we were in that back five system that contributed going forward, and he is mostly our biggest attacking threat, and so it does nullify him considerably. And again, when we switched to the back four, it freed him up a bit. And I do think we should preface it, and we are being very negative, and you've got to say that last 20 minutes when we switched to a back four, it was the best of Fulham again. It was like we started putting crosses into the box, we started creating overloads out wide, we looked dangerous. Cess was superb, and just play him, because he makes a difference every time he comes on the pitch. And so it's prefaced with the fact that we were 2-0 down and Arsenal didn't have to do a huge amount more in the game. So I think they sat a bit deeper, they took the foot off a little bit, the crowd sort of settled, it was a bit flat, and we capitalised on that a bit. And then that Muniz chance happens, doesn't it? I think that really, and it's mental to say it, at 2-0 down, but it's similar to that Bassi chance at the weekend at 2-0 down. If that goes in like it should, different game for the last 15 minutes. With the 6 minutes of added time we had, if that's 2-1, with Arsenal party at right back because Timber went off injured, couple of changes, they were sort of winding down, I think we could have made a fair fist of getting a second. It's a bad miss, isn't it?
I was wondering how long we could put off talking about it, because it certainly felt like the moment. It was on the 82nd minute, I believe. So I remember looking at the clock at the time and thinking, okay, Arsenal would have been in for an incredibly nervy final 15 minutes, and Fulham were just starting to sort of string some play together. And Iwobi, he did so well. It's a beautiful ball from the outside of the boot of Willian to set Iwobi off on that left-hand side. He gasses it. He does so well. One-on-one apart. He manages to get the ball, puts it on a plate for Muniz, who I still don't quite know how he missed. It was one of those where if you could see a snapshot of the entire away end, everyone was just head in hands, just like in total loss of disbelief. Iwobi, I've never seen anything like it, because he put the ball in, saw that Muniz had missed it, and then just turned on his heel. And what I've never seen, he had such a look on his face, just like, I cannot believe he's missed that. And it was funny because when Cesc had set up the goal for Muniz, you know, it was like seconds to play at that point, and we were sort of celebrating, like, oh, we got our like goal at least, but then we were like, oh, that suddenly makes that miss feel so much worse.
Yeah, it really does. And for anyone who wasn't there tonight, the away end at the Emirates, particularly where we are, is sort of in line with the goal line. And so as that header happens, as it comes off Rodrigo's forehead, you leapt up and started celebrating. Everyone in the row in front of me started celebrating. And then, you know that noise when you hear the opposition fans just go, "Hey!" And you're like, he's missed. The guy behind me genuinely said, is there a hole in the net? What has just happened? Me and Elizabeth, our wonderful camera person, discussed this. Unfortunately for Rodrigo, I think the biggest weakness he has is when he has the opportunity to think, and it's such a lovely dinked ball that time sort of stands still, and he has so much time to think about how he's going to head it. And I think that kills him. If that ball has like a bit more fizz on it, or it arrives at him quicker, I think he just buries it, picks up the ball back to the halfway line, go, let's go. It's just so slow that he just loses all composure. I have no idea how it's missed.
Yeah, it was a bad miss. There's no two ways about it. But I mean, like, look, we're being a bit despairing here. Let's not lose perspective. We, came away with the 2-1 against, a team that's second in the league. I don't think many people were hoping for we were hoping for a response, but I mean, you got to look at it on face value here. It's not the worst result in the world, and we got a very difficult stretch coming up. But we're still very much, the season's not over yet. We've got a lot to play for. I want to ask what you thought of the substitutions, because we had a bit of a triple substitution around the sort of 70th minute. We saw Andreas Pereira come on for Smith Rowe came off, Iwobi came on, Traore went off, and then who else was there? Lukic went off. At the time, you were despairing. You were thinking, what the hell is going on here? But I feel like substitutions, we played our best football after those substitutions. Admittedly, it was the second lot when we reverted to the back four which really made the difference. But I think the three that came on did actually make a positive impact.
No, they did, and yeah, you're right. I wasn't happy. The two angles where I wasn't happy. It was just after Traore had his sort of first real impact on the game, and he showed us what he could do given the opportunity. And granted, he absolutely fluffs that left-footed shot, shanks it horribly. It's not a shot, it's not a cross, it just sort of goes nowhere. But he rattled them, and so taking him off straight after that, I was a bit frustrated. The other thing I don't like is I don't like this move of bringing off Lukic for Pereira. And I don't think Pereira played badly, but the second goal comes from a very aggressive piece of positioning from Andreas Pereira, unable to then get back and prevent the goal from happening. And I think that probably doesn't happen with Sasha Lukic. But then the second set of substitutions happened. We shift to that back four. It just freed us up a bit. Interestingly, Willian sort of played in that 10 when we shifted to that 4 and was able to, because we know he's not quick anymore, he's 36, his legs have gone, but his brain's there. And as you said, that outside of the football that he put through to Iwobi for that chance was superb. He just picked up nice pockets, linked it well, and then you had Sessegnon and Iwobi actually able to play high up the pitch and make things happen. So I think that shift to the back four was ultimately what saw us improve. And then you have that horrible thought in your head of maybe we should have just taken the game to them from the beginning. Maybe we were a bit too respectful. And I thought Arsenal were very good, very professional. I don't think any Arsenal fans will say that they played their best football tonight, but they suffocated Fulham really well. They pressed really well, they were on top of us, they didn't let us get a foot in the game. But we wrestled that ourselves in those last 20 minutes. And you can then argue with yourself as to whether maybe that was the best way to start this game, is go at them. go out, do something. Just to be impotent for 70 minutes now feels like a wasted 70 minutes.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I guess it's testament to how far this Fulham side has come, the fact that we've been having this conversation at all, coming away to Arsenal. Just looking at the game as a whole, like, what are the positives that we can take from this, like, into this final stretch of the season, which is going to be defining for us. We're going for these European spots. What does Marco Silva take from this performance into the remaining fixtures that we've got?
For a start, I'm going to say Issa Diop. I think Issa Diop's a big positive. And I'd love to see him playing again at the weekend, be that on the right-hand side again of a back five or next to Calvin Bassey. I think this is his moment. He's playing really good football. I think then another positive is another goal off the bench for Rodrigo. Obviously the miss is horrible, but he does enough. He gets lucky with the goal, but he's in the right position again. I thought he battled well. He's really growing into this super sub role. And Cess. It's Cess for me. This is the one thing.
Liz is nodding along with with a smug look on her face.
But it's just everything he does on the pitch at the moment. Be that when he started against Wolves, be that when he came off the bench against United in the Cup. He's just looking effective, and it's an interesting sort of new role for him. He did it a bit in that ridiculous Jokanovic, Ranieri, Parker Premier League season when he played on the right a couple of times, but it works for him. I think it really works for him. He troubled Lewis Skelly tonight. He got in behind him a few times. He put a couple of good balls in. He just sniffs opportunities, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's really good at sensing a moment to be like, I think if I hit that run, I'm going to expose a weakness. And that's one of the things that's so great about his goal scoring, is he's able to be like, that's where I need to be. I'm going to go there. And he has to start on Sunday. He's just always a handful. You feel like whoever he comes up against, nobody really knows what to do with him, because he's got incredible pace. He's obviously strong as well, but the thing that I think sets him apart, which makes him such a nuisance, is the timing of his runs is impeccable. You just know that. How often do we see it, that speculative ball forward and Cess is there and he has the athleticism to get on the end of it, and then he will always make something, and his final ball as well is always clinical. There was a moment when Rodrigo sort of like brought it down and volleyed it over the top of the Arsenal back line. And I think most fans sort of went, there's a bit of a hopeful ball. But no, it's not, because Cess just spots it. He just senses the opportunity, and he's the one making that run. He knows that pass might be on, so he's going to make that run in case it is on. And again, he creates an opportunity by doing it. That intelligence is so valuable in a team that currently looks a little bit devoid of creativity and nous in the final third. Why would you not want your best smeller of opportunities in and around the penalty area?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're lacking. It happened in the second half. There was a moment Raul's shot, sort of a cross goal, Raya saves, just a decent effort from Raul. It breaks into the box, doesn't land to a Fulham player. I guarantee if Cess was on the right wing when that happened, he is there and he buries it, because that's the player he is.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I just want to give a shout out to Raul Jimenez as well. I thought for when he was on the pitch, he did everything that he could do in that situation, and I think we've got a player there who's full of confidence coming off the back of the CONCACAF Nations League, where he was the absolute star man of the tournament. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of good play from him in the build-up.
It was a thankless task he had today. It was like all he was allowed to do was basically run around and try and make the most of horrible balls up to him. And he did his best, and he put in a shift, and he wins the ball back in decent areas, and he's always just trying. And he also did an overhead kick on the edge of our own area to clear the ball. I was going to say which other strikers in the world would do that, but Rodrigo Muniz would also do that. So, only Fulham.
Yeah, only Fulham. Anyway, I think we'll leave it at that for this quick take. Thanks for everyone who watched. The season's not over. Season is not over. So we've got plenty to play for. We're not on the beach, and we've got derbies in the Chelsea game and Brentford coming up. There's still a lot of magical moments that I'm sure are going to come this season.
And there's nothing to say that we don't go and do something at home to Liverpool. This Fulham team is one of the first in recent memory. Again, like, the reason we're disappointed today is because we know Fulham are capable of doing ridiculous things like getting points at the Emirates, beating Liverpool, getting a point against Liverpool. Like, that's great, and we should take that into perspective, because I'm coming out of the back of this being like, yeah, it wasn't fun today, it wasn't a great watch. But I still, in myself, think that we could turn up at Craven Cottage on Sunday and win 1-0, because there's something about this team.
Yeah, there is. Fair play to Arsenal. I think overall deserve 3 points, but we move, we go again against Liverpool on the weekends. Come on, you Whites. Thanks for watching.